Battle of Baideng in 200 BCE, a pivotal encounter between Han China and the Xiongnu nomads, serves as a crucial historical juncture, encapsulating the diplomatic and military tensions that defined early Sino-nomadic relations. The introduction and historical context of this clash illuminate the geopolitical landscape of ancient East Asia and underscore the complexities of managing frontier interactions. At its core, the Battle of Baideng marks the Han Dynasty's efforts to consolidate power and secure its northern borders against the formidable Xiongnu Confederation. The Han, under Emperor Gaozu, sought to integrate and stabilize China, yet faced constant threats from the Xiongnu, who excelled in cavalry warfare and exploited their mobility across the steppes. This battle signifies the broader struggle between settled agrarian civilizations and nomadic societies, each vying for control and influence over the contested territories of the northern plains. The historical importance of this encounter is multifaceted. Firstly, it underscores the strategic challenges that the Han faced in defending against nomadic raids. The Xiongnu, leveraging their superior cavalry tactics, initially placed the Han army in a dire situation. Secondly, it highlights the genesis of the Heqin policy, wherein the Han pursued a diplomatic marriage alliance with the Xiongnu as a means to broker peace and avoid future conflict. This pragmatic approach set a precedent for handling external threats and emphasized diplomacy over direct confrontation. Two significant examples illustrate these dynamics. The Chinese expansion into Central Asia during the later Han Dynasty echoes these early encounters, demonstrating how military and diplomatic strategies evolved in response to nomadic pressures. Additionally, the eventual Great Wall construction, although centuries later, symbolizes the sustained effort to curtail nomadic incursions influenced by the lessons learned at Baideng. Opinions on the Han's approach vary. Some historians praise the Heqin strategy for its emphasis on diplomacy, arguing it bought the Han valuable time to strengthen internally. However, critics contend that it ceded too much power and emboldened the Xiongnu, illustrating the inherent tension between appeasement and assertiveness. Challenges associated with this strategy include its long-term sustainability and the perception of weakness it might have conveyed. Alternative views suggest that a more aggressive military stance could have deterred future threats, although this risked costly, protracted warfare. The battle's significance extends beyond its immediate outcomes, influencing Han military reforms, frontier fortifications, and foreign policy. Understanding Baideng provides insights into the intricate balance of power and negotiation that shaped early Chinese statecraft and its enduring legacy in managing nomadic adversaries. The tactical standoff at Baideng refers to a critical moment during the Battle of Baideng, occurring in 200 BCE, when Han China, under Emperor Gaozu, confronted the Xiongnu nomads. This standoff was significant because it showcased the strategic differences between a settled, agrarian empire and a mobile, nomadic confederation. It was during this precarious encounter, lasting 7 days, that the Han forces found themselves surrounded by the Xiongnu, revealing both the vulnerabilities and strengths of Han military strategies. The significance of this standoff lies in its demonstration of the Xiongnu's adeptness at mobile warfare, contrasting sharply with the Han's reliance on fortified positions and supply lines. This confrontation exposed the difficulty of engaging with a highly mobile enemy on the open plains, an insight that would shape Han military approaches in subsequent years. One specific example of the standoff's impact can be seen in the eventual development of the Great Wall's extensive network. Realizing the limitations exposed by battles like Baideng, Han China expanded these structures to safeguard against future nomadic incursions. Another example is the diplomatic shift towards a Heqin policy, or marriage alliances with the Xiongnu. This approach, although strategically controversial, reflected a deeper understanding of the complexities involved in managing relations with nomadic neighbors. Opinions supporting this standoff's importance often emphasize its role in highlighting the necessity for adaptive strategies when dealing with non-state adversaries, a lesson evidenced by China's historical trajectory following this event. Potential challenges and controversies surrounding the standoff primarily stem from the debate over Emperor Gaozu's subsequent decisions. While some historians argue that his reliance on diplomacy demonstrated pragmatism, others believe it exposed a lack of military innovation and resolve. Furthermore, this standoff embodies the broader tension between expansion and security, a recurring theme in imperial management. The tactical standoff at Baideng influenced Han China's long-term strategic posture, encouraging a blend of military strength, architectural fortifications, and diplomatic flexibility. This event underscored the constant interplay between direct confrontation and political negotiation, a dynamic pivotal in shaping Han China's interactions with nomadic tribes. Thus, the Baideng episode was not just a mere military engagement, but a defining moment that forced an emerging empire to reassess its approach to both internal governance and external relations. The strategic objectives of Han China and the Xiongnu during the Battle of Baideng in 200 BCE were central to the diplomatic and military maneuvers between these two powers. The Han Dynasty, under the rule of Emperor Gaozu, sought to solidify its recent unification of China and to prevent the Xiongnu nomads from threatening its northern borders. For the Han, maintaining territorial integrity and fostering internal stability were crucial, as they were focused on consolidating their rule and ensuring the longevity of their dynasty. Conversely, the Xiongnu, a confederation of nomadic tribes, aimed to expand their influence and secure control over the lucrative trade routes that passed through the Central Asian steppes. The significance of these objectives cannot be understated, as they shaped the diplomatic and military engagements between Han China and the Xiongnu for decades. The conflict at Baideng exemplifies the delicate balance between military confrontation and diplomatic appeasement that characterized their relations. It highlights the lengths to which both powers were willing to go to maintain their interests, whether through direct conflict or through measures like the Heqin policy, which involved offering tributes and marrying Han princesses to Xiongnu leaders as a form of peacekeeping. One real-world example illustrating these objectives is the eventual implementation of the Heqin policy by the Han, which underscores the notion that China, facing the logistical challenge of a long and extended frontier, sometimes favored diplomacy over outright military conquest. This policy enabled a temporary peace and provided the Han with the time needed to strengthen their resources and military capabilities. Another example is the Battle of Baideng itself, where the Han forces were effectively encircled by the Xiongnu. The subsequent use of espionage and diplomatic negotiation facilitated the safe extrication of Han forces, reflecting the importance of strategic objectives based on situational pragmatism. However, the views on these objectives were not uniform. Some factions within the Han court advocated for a more aggressive stance against the Xiongnu, believing appeasement compromised Han sovereignty and pride. Critics argued that prolonged tributary arrangements showcased weakness. Conversely, others supported these diplomatic efforts, emphasizing the potential devastation and resource drain of continuous warfare. These strategic objectives influenced the broader Han-Xiongnu relations by setting precedents for future interactions, whether through military deterrence, diplomacy, or a combination of both. The battle and its outcomes reinforced the necessity for strategic foresight and flexibility amid the ongoing power struggle, shaping the trajectory of Han China's northern policies and alliances. let's discuss the military tactics employed during the Battle of Baideng, a key confrontation between Han China and the Xiongnu nomads around 200 BCE. At the core of this conflict lies the concept of encirclement, a strategic military maneuver where forces surround their enemy to cut off escape routes and supplies, thereby weakening the opponent's position. In the Battle of Baideng, the Xiongnu successfully employed this tactic to entrap Han Emperor Gaozu and his troops, demonstrating its effectiveness in ancient warfare. The significance of the encirclement maneuver in this battle cannot be understated. It highlights the military acumen of the Xiongnu and the challenges faced by Han China in dealing with nomadic forces that utilized mobility and knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. Encirclement had long-lasting ramifications for Han military strategies, prompting them to rethink and reinforce their defenses against mobile and strategically savvy opponents. To illustrate, consider two examples of encirclement in military history. The Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, where Hannibal's Carthaginian forces famously enveloped and decimated a larger Roman army, and the more modern example of the Battle of Stalingrad during World War II, where Soviet forces encircled and defeated the German Sixth Army. These examples reflect the enduring relevance of encirclement as a tactical approach throughout history. Opinions among historians and military strategists often highlight encirclement as a classic yet risky tactic due to the inherent requirement of superior maneuverability and coordination. However, the potential psychological impact on an encircled army, as evidenced by the tensions faced by Han troops at Baideng, underscores its strategic value. There are challenges and controversies associated with this tactic, primarily regarding its ethical implications and the high stakes involved. Encirclement can lead to severe humanitarian consequences, particularly for non-combatants trapped within besieged areas. Moreover, if poorly executed, it can backfire, leading to losses for the encircling force. In the context of the Battle of Baideng, the use of encirclement by the Xiongnu forced Han China to re-evaluate its military strategies, helping shape the Han Dynasty's future approach to dealing with nomadic threats and influencing broader military doctrines. Ultimately, the lessons learned from Baideng were instrumental in the development of the Han's prolonged efforts to secure their northern borders, illustrating the interconnectedness of tactical failures, strategic learnings, and eventual military reforms.